Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are excited to have the confidence coach from TLC Evolution joining us, Wendy J Holloway. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thanks, Jill. I'm doing great.
Pleasure.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you. Great to have you here, hailing from beautiful Alberta in Canada, correct?
That's right.
Oh,
Yes,
well, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you do at TLC Evolution.
absolutely. Well, I am the confidence coach at TLC Evolution. And what we do at TLC Evolution is remind people that they have a choice about how they want to go through life. Do you want to go through life, thinking that you're just barely surviving and that the whole world is against you? Or would you rather have the experience of your nervous system being soothed, feeling confident about, where you are? I like the term pronoia, and that's really at the heart of what we do at TLC Evolution. Have you heard
No,
pronoia
no,
before?
no. And you're going to teach me something new today, and I'm sure plenty of other people. What is that?
Well, paranoia, where we
Yeah.
kind of think that everything is happening against us. Well, pronoia takes it where we believe that the whole universe is conspiring in our favor at all times, that everything is always happening for us instead of to us.
Yes. Got it. Got it. I know some people like that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and Albert Einstein, one of our most celebrated minds in all of history, said that the most important decision a person can make is to decide whether they live in a friendly or a hostile universe. Isn't that amazing?
It is, if you think about it. Yeah, I've never really, yes.
Yeah. And so then when we start really absorbing into this, it's like it goes many layers deep. But if we think that everything is always happening to us and that, everyone's out to get us, we're going to be facing the world out of fear
Debbie
instead of out of
Downers.
acceptance.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then everything
Exactly.
negative, and then that sounds like a family member. I know my mom when she was alive, and then she passed that trait down to my brother. So I could definitely relate to this type of person in particular, Wendy. Thanks for sharing that. Before we get to all the different coaching programs, and I know you have clients all over the world, I just want to find out more about you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us who you are and how you got here, because I know when you were younger, I read that you wanted to work for the church and you always
I
wanted people to
did.
know they're loved and supported. So you're in a similar field. So could you share?
Absolutely. Thank you. I always forget to talk about me and how I got here. Um, yeah, I grew up in the church and I did always want to help people. That's always been in my heart. It's part of my personality. And I found myself in a really unhealthy relationship. I got married, I was in a 20-year marriage, and it just did not go well. So we all know what toxic relationships are. We start throwing around words like narcissists and all that kind of thing. And those words can be helpful in helping us to understand what's going on. So that was definitely part of it. But I also just found myself like really burnt out in my career. I was 10 years in real estate. My children were in their teens. And so I was just coming into this kind of new space in my life. And I realized that I couldn't keep living like this. I hit my bottom, which was just, years of crying and going, I can't do this anymore. This is too hard. And I hired a life coach myself. And with that life coach, I decided that my core value was going to be inner peace. So as I committed my whole life to wanting to feel inner peace and allow my life to up level in this way, it just resulted in my marriage dissolving because I couldn't be in that relationship and have inner peace as my core value. They just didn't match up. And so then I went and trained as a life coach. I remember the first time I went to the live training, it was actually in Miami, Florida. I'd never been before. I loved it. But in the air conditioned conference room there, I had seen for the first time somebody being live coached in such a way that I was like, oh my gosh, this is why I'm here on this planet. I could see myself doing that. And ever since, it's just been my passion. So one of the questions that was asked, when we're getting ready, like, am I retired? Well, kind of, because I quit working and now I'm just doing what I love. So
Ah,
I'm not working anymore. I'm just doing exactly what I love to do.
well, this is amazing. And now, how many years ago was this where you started the training for the life coach?
The training started 7 years ago. When I hired my first coach was just over 10 years ago. So it's kind of cool, but my whole life is completely different now. Completely
Beautiful.
different. Everything is inner peace for me.
You totally reprogrammed yourself, you said, and overhauled your subconscious belief system, which that's not an easy task to do, but you're here and you've living proof, and now you're helping others do the same.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Well, let's dive into more about TLC evolution, how the transformation can occur, how you're helping so many. I mean, first and foremost, you have a whole bunch of different programs. Do you want to start off by sharing that?
Sure. Yeah. One of my favorite programs is, like, the core of it is the TLC Evolution, and it's called Fearful to Fearless. It is a complete mind reprogramming system. So it's kind of a 3-month intensive where we get to dive right into how did we get programmed in the first place? And how
Yeah.
do we do some of this reprogramming? We also have the Boundary Boot Camp is another one of my favorite programs. This is just a 4-week group class where we dive into what boundaries are. We explore why they're so challenging, what we need to do in order to have and use healthy boundaries. And we actually give you a formula, a blueprint, and even a handout that is exactly what to say when dealing with a narcissist, when laying boundaries with a narcissist. We also have a lot of private, customized private coaching for people where we can help, reprogram anything that it is that you're wanting to accomplish. And one of my favorite workshops that I probably didn't mention in our sheet was the Web of Reality, which is just like a 1-hour workshop in which you can figure out a really easy blueprint for changing your life as much as you want. Really fun.
And by the way, just for some that don't know, could you just share the definition of what a narcissist is, if you don't mind?
Yes. So, well, here's the thing. I am not trained to know how to diagnose a narcissist. It's just a word that gets thrown around a
Yeah.
lot in society these days. So, I like to use more like narcissistic behaviors, narcissistic qualities, which is when we're like kind of void of empathy, we are being narcissistic. And if we're more committed to how we want people to see us or perceive us than we are about reality, well, then we're probably operating in narcissism. And I think we all have
Got it.
some narcissistic traits, just some of us more than others. So, um, navigating these relationships with narcissists is actually where we get toxic relationships quite often. Mhm.
Got it. Yeah, we've been in some of those before, but okay, I just wanted to make sure we knew what that was
Absolutely.
exactly because it does. Yeah, I hear that term all the time, and I never really have a handle on what that is. But still, more to your services, I should say. Do
Yeah.
you want to discuss more the fearful to fearless? This is a complete mind reprogramming system.
I love this program so much, Jill. Like, I want everybody to take it because it's just 3 months and you get to really do a deep dive into who you are already, how you got to be that person, your identity, and maybe becoming aware of some of the things that you think you are that you're really not, that there's a lot more to you. We start the sessions off with remembering who we really are. And we start talking about guideposts, things like, Albert Einstein's quote that I just
Hmm.
mentioned is one of the first guideposts that we have. But let's see, I just led session 7 last night, and that guidepost was, it feels good to feel good. Which sounds like it's so obvious but there have been times where we've had negative things happen to us or traumatic experiences, and we can start actually associating bad feelings with our good feels. So when we would normally feel good when somebody gives us a compliment, for instance, we might actually start feeling guilty or
Not
bad,
worthy or
not worthy. Yes. And so this is an indication that there's something that's probably cross-wired within us, and we could stand to do a little bit of reprogramming. So every week we kind of go through some of the power drains, what's draining our personal power. What are some of the ways we can power up? Just simple little things. So the power up for last night's session that I was doing was to be intentional. And what does that mean? But every week just kind of layers it on. We do so many fun things. And then there's also a private session that I gift to everyone that takes that group program. And it's a deep dive into how we can reprogram something from your childhood that might have been,
Ooh.
affecting the way that you see the world around you.
And a lot of us don't even know we have childhood trauma, right?
Absolutely. It can be something so small. Like your mom said that you weren't a good singer when you were singing along to the radio, and she was just being funny and we could have internalized that as a child and then had it be something that deeply impacted our ability to follow our life path or something that we really wanted, because now there's this bad feeling that we associate with our singing.
Very true. Oh, and traumatic. Okay. All right. Great. So first and foremost, I also got to ask this question, if you don't mind. I'm a little out of order, but TLC Revolution. I think it's important. Can you tell us what that stands for?
Absolutely. So the TLC evolution is about evolving, like I said, into our best nervous system. We're going into thrive mode instead of survival mode.
Good.
Now, we have three ways of doing that, of resetting a nervous system. The first one is the T, which is to turn off the noise. Now, I define noise as anything that's drowning out the joy of living. So I don't know, Jill, if you feel comfortable with me playing with you on this, but
Sure.
I like to kind of demonstrate one way of turning off the noise in our life. Do you have
Absolutely.
anything that's kind of noisy that you'd be willing to let us play with a little bit today?
Well, I have two kids that are noisy, 7 and 9, but I think noise in general, I'm finding a lot that the cell phones become noise and the tablets become noise in my life. And it's always
Yes.
interfering because it's beeping, it's chiming, it's ringing. It's like, but then I'm not present for my kids and I'm trying to teach them to be present and not be, but meanwhile, they see mom like
Right.
this. So that's one of the things.
Now, okay, so we have two ways that I like to play with this. So one of them is called the blind octopus, and the other one is kind of like a mixing board, a sound board. So
Okay.
which one do you think you'd like to use to solve this turning off the noise of the
The mixing
notifications?
soundboard, because that's what I have here.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, perfect. So first we're going to tap into what is it specifically about those notifications that's actually choking out the joy of living in your life?
It's
Is it, yeah, go ahead.
feel like it's a distractor, a time waster, because then one message leads to the next, leads to the next, or even if it's a news article, it's like, oh, let me read this. It just, and then, okay, I'm not cleaning up. I'm not doing the stuff that I was supposed to be doing. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. So it's kind of pulling your attention away from the things that are important for you right now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Pulling you out of the present and into some other world that we get
Hmm.
pulled into.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so I'd love for you to imagine that your whole life is on this mixing board,
Okay.
okay? So all the sound levels are there. I'd love for you to notice how loud is the notifications on your phone, on your devices, when you just look at your proverbial mixing board right now, compared to maybe how important it is for you to keep up on on cleaning up around you and on being present with your children. So if you just kind of look at your board there, can you
Hmm.
see where these dials are? Where is the dial set for these notifications?
Well, I think I have to turn them down. They're a little
Yeah,
too high.
right. So if they were between 1 and 10, where do you think they'd be set right now?
Where I should set them or where they are?
Where they
They're
have been set.
like an 8,
Yeah, absolutely.
9,
Okay.
fine. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so then just noticing that it's right there. What if we just turn them down right now? So we're going
Okay.
to turn it down to like a 2.
Okay.
What would you like to turn up in your life so that the sound of your life is really balanced and it feels like melodic and beautiful and joyful?
Country music. I love music.
I
Let's
love
put
country
more
music.
music on in the house.
Yes. Yes. I like that country music. Have you heard that song, Buy Dirt? I love that
Oh,
one.
that's a great. Dun, 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 dun. I can't sing, but yes, it's so amazing. It's so true. It's
Okay, so we're
beautiful.
just going to turn up the volume of country music in your on your mixing board. So where do you want that to be at?
Like a 10. I love it. It makes me
Okay,
happy and
perfect.
smile. But I can't drown out
Perfect.
my kids though, so I don't know if I'm allowed to have 2 10s or okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what if, like, I mean, on your mixing board, you can have a whole bunch of things set
Yeah.
really high, right? Yeah. So we could set that really high. Now, I just want you to tune into your life again and notice the quality of your life, the quality of the sound of your life. Does it shift when you turn down those notifications and you turn up the things that you like? What happens for you?
I'm smiling more. I feel happy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you get to live in a friendly universe,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, obviously, we can actually change the notification settings so that they're silent on our phones. We can do all of that. But it's more than that. It's setting it intentionally for
Intentionally.
ourselves. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
is important to me? What do I
Yes.
want to spend my time, my focus, my attention on? I'm voting for those things. What do I want to vote for with my time, my attention? What I'm paying attention to.
So basically you're saying I could vote for it. Like that just you confused me the last part. I vote for more
Yes,
joy, more happiness, more music.
by turning it up on your soundboard, you're
Yeah.
voting for more of that. You're saying
Got it.
yes to that, and you're
Yeah.
saying quiet it
Applied
down
to
for all
everything
the other
else.
things. Yeah, absolutely. What's making you feel good? So, I mean, I know that this is very simplistic, but sometimes when we just play with them like this, it changes the way that we perceive it, even just a little
Yes.
bit. And when we change the way we see it, it changes. Everything changes.
Well, during my break today, I'm going to blast the music. I mean, I just, why not during the day? What if I'm not working? Why can't I put the music on? That does bring me more joy. What are the things that bring me more joy? And I love listening to music. So, okay, I'm on a roll. I'm going to turn and pot up all the buttons here on the board.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
turn
love
down.
it. So as you're turning off the noise, the next thing on the TLC evolution is to listen to our bodies. And
Hmm.
so, at this point, we're really looking at how do you know, Jill, that you like country music? What happens in your body when you're listening to it?
Start moving. Yeah,
Yeah.
start moving. Yeah, smiling,
Yeah.
moving.
And what happens in your body when you used to have your notifications turned up really high to an 8? What were the signs or the feelings or sensations you were feeling in your body?
Angst when I would
Okay.
like, yeah, the bad sounds. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
oh, annoyance.
Oh,
Yeah. Not
right.
happy.
And then just noticing that you have control over those all the time. So if I'm listening to my body, it's going to always tell me what is for me and what is not for me. Some of these bad feelings that we're afraid of are actually just indicators to let us know that's actually not for me. When I feel good, that means this is for me. This is something that's meant for me to increase my quality of life. So we've got turning off the noise, listening to our body, and then the C is probably the most brilliant part. It's creating your own heaven on earth.
And now you're gonna make me
What I
sing
love,
the Belinda Carlisle
yeah,
song. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Heaven is a place on earth. Yay! See,
I
I
love
love
that.
music.
Yes. But I mean, okay, so it would be funny if we all tried to have everyone do the same kind of heaven on earth as we do, because Jill, there's a lot of people that hate country music. And if you had to make them listen to it, they would feel like they were on hell on earth.
Mm.
So it's really listening to what's right for us and then following into our own GPS, our own, body system so that we can create the life that we're really wanting. That's when I refer back to that Web of Reality workshop. It's so good for deciding, like, how am I creating? One of the ways we create that we don't even think about is with our words. What am I saying to myself over and over and over again? Because this is really powerful and this is what's creating my life.
All right. I love that you broke it down for us. I'm sorry that wasn't in the notes, but I was on the website before and I'm like, it's important to talk about what the TLC evolution even means, if you don't mind. All right. Well, we still have 6 more minutes left in the show. What else did you want to dive into for today? Because I know there's a lot. There's private customized coaching programs, as you mentioned, to support and create your own heaven on earth lifestyle. Which one, what did you want to kind of guide down the road next?
Well, I kind of want to go back, circle back, I think, to knowing ourselves, because that's another part of that Fearful to Fearless program. And if anyone wants to check that out, it is on the website on tlcevolution.com. You can just scroll down and you'll see the little button for Fearful to Fearless. You can check that out. There's a whole bunch of testimonials there to see that other people have had a lot of success in reprogramming their minds and just completely transforming their life. One of the things that's important, though, is knowing ourselves. And, we referred to narcissism and what that can be like. I think basically being a narcissist is being out of touch with who we really are.
Mm.
If we know who we really are, we don't have to prove anything to anyone. We don't have to, defend ourselves, especially if we're living in that friendly universe that we decided to. So, one of the ways that we can really, really change things for ourselves is to dive into who am I? I've got a whole bunch of profile quizzes that we get to do when we're in the Fearful to Fearless program. And we get to learn things about ourselves too, like, hey, did you know what an HSP is? Have you ever heard this term before?
No, I have not.
Elaine
Oh,
Aron
highly
is,
sensitive person. Yes, highly
yes,
sensitive people.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, highly sensitive people. And so Elaine Aron, a psychotherapist, has a whole study on this, and there's a quiz online that you can take to see if you are. But if you discover that you are 20% of the population that is highly sensitive, this could change your whole understanding of how you interact in the world. If you're highly sensitive, you probably don't like a lot of noise. You probably need a lot of quiet time. You probably need a lot of time to yourself to do the deep processing that happens when we're highly sensitive. So knowing about yourself is like, it's revolutionary.
And by the way, I
I don't,
love your website. It's broken down like awesomely. And I love the color technique and scheme you use because like the people kind of turn into like cartoon characters in the
yeah,
friendly
isn't that fun?
universe. Yes.
Yes, I love that too, because that indicates this community that we have with TLC Evolution. It's an online community where you can pop in and be there in real time with real people, even though we look cartoony. It's
Love it.
it's a really fun way of being able to interact even outside of some of these sessions to find friends, because I don't know about you. I don't know about what you're hearing from all the people you're interviewing, but gosh, people are lonely these days. I don't know if it's since COVID or what, but people are lonely and feeling so disconnected from each other. Oh, it can be just like deafening because we're so lonely sometimes, and just wanting that real interconnection with real people. So that's the intent of that friendly universe community online, where you see the cartoony characters.
Mhm. Sorry, I didn't know how to describe it, but I love it. I love it. I love it. And I have so many more questions, but we don't have enough time. There's the full moon gathering. I'm like, what is Ho'oponopono? What is that?
Yes, I love it. Yeah, you're so close to it. It's a Hawaiian prayer, so it's
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono. Yeah,
Okay. Ho'oponopono
absolutely.
sessions. Okay.
Yes. And Ho'oponopono is again, another really great tool for
Okay.
changing our lives. So it's this Hawaiian prayer. There's just 4 short statements. And in doing so, actually, Dr. Hugh Len, who made this prayer famous, he was able to heal people from a criminally insane ward in the hospital in Hawaii just by doing this prayer with their charts and not even interacting with the people.
Hmm.
He didn't even do his psychotherapy with them. He just did Ho'oponopono or Ho'oponopono. And it was so amazing. So, I mean, I lead people through this too, because it makes such a difference, especially for parents with their children. When we don't know how to deal with things, this practice can be completely empowering for you in parenting your kids.
Well, also, we have just 2 minutes left in the show. How did you want to kind of wrap things up for today?
I don't know. How do I want to wrap it up? I would just love for people to know, like, hey, you have one life. There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. You just get to decide what you want. And so this whole idea of the TLC evolution is for you to be able to really decide what it is that you want for yourself and then to create it. You know, deciding not to decide is still a decision. And is
Mhm.
that the one you want to make for yourself? You know, is
Yeah.
that the one you want to make? Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just so grateful for this time with you. Thank you very much. Thanks for letting
Thank
me play
you.
with you with
Thank
the
you for letting me
soundboard.
play. And I'm going to work on this later for sure. Yeah, I gotta change your mindset like that. And yeah, it would make me happy the rest of the day. But these are little things, like you said, and could take some time. But I love the thought of this. And why not try something new? Why not live our best life? That's what you're here to do, and you're helping coach and guide so many. So, yeah, would love to. Hopefully, we get to talk again. And just also curious, you mentioned you had a life coach as well, right? So
That's
even life
right.
coaches need coaches.
Yes, we do.
All right. And if
Yes,
someone
we
wants to
do.
reach out to you, do you offer like an initial discovery call?
I do offer an initial discovery call. And so there's actually a couple choices. You can have just a little chat like you and I are doing today on Zoom, or we can also do what I call the 15 Fearless Minutes experience. And this is a really action-packed 15 minutes where you can experience the difference that you're wanting to have in your life.
All right. Well, thank you. Remind us
Yeah.
how we can reach out to you, please.
Yeah, you can find that on the tlcevolution.com. Just navigate through there or message me if you can't find it. But I'm so excited to connect with whoever it is that's wanting to up-level your life and turn off the noise.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Pleasure to have you here. Looking forward to next time we speak, and I'm wishing you a happy and healthy weekend.
You too. Thank you so much, Jill. Thank
Thank
you.
you. And to all of our listeners, please stay tuned. We'll be right back with more. Please stay with us.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.